Hello, Stellar friends. It's Tiffin from Your Stellar Life. And I wanted to make this video tutorial for you of how you can pull up your own birth chart and start to get familiar with the planetary placements in the signs of the zodiac and in the houses of your natal chart. And by having a copy of your chart, it can make what I share in the Your Stellar Life Facebook group or online or in my webinars or even in my monthly newsletter, a lot more meaningful to you personally when you have your own chart to refer to. So it's really easy. What I'm going to do is share my screen and walk you through the process. So we're going to go to astro.com, which is a free resource. It's got all things astrology. There's so much to this website. I encourage you to take a look around. What I'm going to do is guide you through pulling up a chart, but there's also a whole learning tab all about astrology. You can read articles from the Mountain Astrologer, articles by prominent astrologers, and there's a whole Astro Wikipedia that you can look up the meaning of different astrological terms. Super helpful in learning. What we're going to do though is go over here under free horoscopes. Lots of choices. Once you put your birth data in, you can then look up your personal daily horoscope and other themed horoscopes. Some are free, some are for fee. But under the tab horoscopes, come over here under drawings and calculations and choose extended chart selection. It'll bring up this page, welcoming you to astro.com. And you have an opportunity here to create a registered user profile. Really just need an email address, but I'm not going to go through that since I do already have my account. I'm going to do this as a guest user, and you can do this as a one-time opportunity as well. Knowing that your data will only be used to calculate and display your chart, you need to give permission for that. And now we're here with birth data entry. And this is where it's really important for you to know the date, time, and place of your birth. If you cannot find the time of your birth on your birth certificate or another official document, you can set the chart for noon. And that's a pretty standard way of looking at it. If you have never had your chart done and you'd like a chart reading, I'll use another technique to help you with that. But for now, I'm going to make up. I'm not going to make it up. I'm going to let you guys see my chart. Okay. So first name, last name, Dylan. Gender, female, birth date, 7th of August. I was born 1964 at 8:40 p.m. I know this part isn't very exciting. I was born in the US in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it'll give you some choices here for many of the cities. Choose the closest that you know. And continue. Okay, here we have some options within the extended chart selection. And I'm going to walk you through how I set up a chart when I'm doing an initial reading. We're going to leave the default of natal chart wheel and web default style. We're not going to worry about the start date. That has to do with transits and progressions and more involved things. We're going to come under here, house system. Now there are a lot of different house systems, each of them calculated slightly differently with different philosophy behind it. I use a house system called Porphyry and invite you to choose that so that as I'm talking about the charts, we have the same system. If you're interested in learning more about the houses and different ways they're delineated, you can go to that Astro Wikipedia. or do a search on house systems. But for now, choose Porphyry and we'll be on the same page. Okay, the next set of choices, leave the default settings. We're going to go down to display and calculation options. And I click on aspects to Chiron, and I come down here and choose Chiron to be added into the chart. Not super necessary. If you don't choose that, you'll get a very basic chart with the planets, the sun, the moon, and the rising. Okay, so now we're going to come back up here and click here to show the chart. Alrighty, so we do get advertisements with astro.com as a free resource. You can close that out, and we can scroll down to see the chart. Now, what I'm looking at here, and what I want to orient you to, is looking for the signs of the zodiac and where they are in your chart. So the chart is made up of 12 houses, and those are numbered near the center of the circle, 1 through 12. These 12 wedges are called houses, and they refer to a certain area of our lives where the planets and the signs of the zodiac affect us, where things play out. And so we're curious about where in your chart are certain things located. We have two axes. We have the horizon, and from the chart, what this is it's a map of where the planets were at the time of your birth. The black symbols in this inner blue ring are the symbols for the planets. Here we have the sun and the moon. In my chart are in the sign of Leo. I was born during the time of sun in Leo, and I was born just after the new moon, where the sun and the moon are together in my chart. But the horizon here, the planets below the horizon were not visible in the sky at the time I was born. The planets above the horizon could be found in the sky with a telescope. We have Neptune and Saturn above the horizon in my chart. The eastern horizon, which is here on the left-hand side of the chart, is called the ascendant or the rising sign. And that's a common term you'll hear in astrology. It's one of the key factors in our chart. It helps us align the houses with the signs of the zodiac. So my rising sign is Pisces, and it sets my chart up in this configuration. Okay, so the way you can use this chart with the other work that I do is I suggest you print it out, and when you read the monthly newsletter, the December newsletter will be coming out by the end of the week. You're going to read about the upcoming new moon in Sagittarius. Now, the new moon in Sagittarius, I'm curious about where is that going to fall in my chart. Now, Sagittarius for me is up here at the top of my chart, mostly in the 9th house, and a third of it in the 10th house. The new moon is going to be at 15 degrees Sagittarius, so it will be in my 9th house. And so I'm going to interpret the energies for the new moon in Sagittarius through the 9th house of my chart, which is the part of my chart that relates to higher learning, travel, foreign cultures, beliefs, big world understanding. So it's a very philosophical part of the chart. And so when a new moon is in the 9th house, there's an opportunity to have growth in and understanding, emotional experience, emotional understanding in that area of my life through the energy of the sign of the zodiac. So Sagittarius, for example, is a fire sign that has to do with the big picture, all of humanity. What is it that's important in the worldview? It has to do with faith and with beliefs. And so this next lunar cycle for me, beginning December 6th, will be an opportunity for me to really look at what's important to me, what I value in terms of my worldview and what I believe in. Opportunities, learning, expanding my horizons, whether through travel or through learning, reading, things like that. So take a look at your chart, pull it up, and use it as a guide. So when I talk about the new moon being in Sagittarius, find where in your chart that new moon will be. It will have the energies of the sign of the zodiac that it's in, and it will also have the energies of the house. And you'll look to that area of your life to put a focus on for the next cycle of the moon. So I want to go back really quickly and show you again how we can pull up the chart. I love to review. So we're going to pull up another tab, and we're going to go to astro.com. Okay, you're going to get a screen like this. You're going to go to free horoscopes and come down here under extended chart selection. Might take a second. It's taking more than a second. Here we go. Okay, so I had already typed in my birth data. It'll stay there. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through it again. I'm going to add a new person to take us to the birth data entry. Okay, let's make someone up. Let's have this be Gertrude Smith. Oops. And Gertrude Smith is a young woman. She was born on the 10th of January in 1998. I hope that's still a young woman. Gertrude was born at 5:15 in the morning. And Gertrude was born in London, Great Britain. Someone with the name of Gertrude, that sounds appropriate, doesn't it? Okay. My English friends, don't be at all offended by my choice here. Okay. So for Gertrude Smith, we're going to look, and we want the natal chart wheel and the web default setting. Those are the two pieces you're going to look at in the section style. We're going to scroll down, and we're going to choose the Porphyry house system. And then go down to display and calculation options, which leaves nothing. So let's see what happens if we don't put anything, if we just stop with the house system, which is just fine to do. So let's see what we've got here. Looking at Gertrude's chart. Okay. So without adding in Chiron and aspects to Chiron, we don't see how Chiron is connected to the other planets in the chart. So what we're seeing here, though, is each of the planets, these black symbols. And if you scroll down below, there is a guide or a key to the symbols and the names of the planets. In this grid, there is the blue is what degree and what sign it's found in. So Gertrude is a Capricorn. Her sun is found here at 19 degrees 45 minutes of Capricorn. Let me see how that goes. And this grid here talks about the relationship between the planets. And in our chart, it's the colorful lines connecting the planets. So for Gertrude, her moon is opposite her Mercury in her chart. Her Mercury in Sagittarius, opposite the moon in Gemini. And this is within a 10 degrees of either side of exact. The blue lines say from Mars to the moon. This indicates a trine or 120-degree relationship between planets in the same element. The moon is in Gemini and Mars is here in Aquarius, so they are in a trine relationship. And Jupiter at 24 is also in a trine to the moon at 19. Okay, this is a basic orientation for you to the chart. So let's take a look at where this next new moon is going to fall for Gertrude. The new moon will be at 15 degrees of Sagittarius and will fall in her first house. The first house has to do with her self-image, with her body, with how she puts herself forward in her life. The rising sign is the energy that people first encounter in us. It's an energy of adaptation. It's kind of a mask we wear, an energy that sort of precedes us, and we've learned to embody those qualities from a very young age. It's often a very unconscious energy. And one of the things that's wonderful about astrology is we can become more aware of those energies that others perceive in us, and we can work to come from the truth and the clarity of who we are. So this new moon in Sagittarius, Gertrude is probably someone who appears to be very fun-loving and jovial and optimistic, and perhaps a philosopher, a teacher, someone who's probably very friendly and outspoken and has a big presence, that big fiery energy of Sagittarius. As a rising sign is someone who comes across that way, as confident, as opinionated, as fun-loving, and optimistic. And the new moon is an opportunity for this person to work throughout the moon cycle on themes of the first house. So how is she in relationship to her body, to how she's putting herself out in the world, to how she makes an impression. Those are all first house things. So her vitality, her self-image, and her body would be key themes for the upcoming month. Okay, so that's an example of how you would use the chart and the new moon posts that I do. The newsletter will tell us where the planets currently are. And so you can find in your chart, well, what part of your chart is that planet currently going through? And you can, add a printed chart for the monthly newsletter, you can then go through and mark where things will be. For example, in December, we have the planet Venus. I'm going to come use some of my tools here, annotation tools. The drawing tool, no, the text tool. Okay, we're going to have the planet Venus will be moving through Scorpio. And planet Saturn, for example, is here in Capricorn. Pluto is down here in Capricorn as well. And you can go through your chart and just write in where the planets currently are. Okay, there's a lot of sophistication here. So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it, I'm going to erase these things, is you can use astro.com to show you where the current planets are. So let's backtrack a little bit. I'm glad you're being patient with me. So we're going back to chart selection using Gertrude's chart. And I'm going to go here to the sections, the chart type. If you choose chart type, and you're going to have to scroll down a bit, natal chart and transits, and you choose a date for when you want to find out where will the planets be. And let's take a look at December 6th. This is the date of the new moon. So all I've done is I've changed this to natal charts and transits, and I've put in the date that I want to look at. And this is going to give us an overlay of where the planets currently are for that date and Gertrude's natal chart. So it'll look something like this for you. And where you look for the planets is in the outer ring in the green symbols. These are the current or transiting planets. And so this shows us December 6th, like at midnight. So it's later in the day that we have the new moon. The new moon will be catching up with the sun here. Okay, Jupiter will be here in Sagittarius in her 12th house, expanding 12th house themes and having a connection with, lining up with Pluto in her chart. We were to do a reading, there's a lot of information and energies that I would describe to Gertrude and how she can partner with those energies and with that transit. Okay, so if you want to pull up a transit chart for yourself, you can see where is the new moon falling, and you can see, oh, Tiffin's talking about the having Venus in Scorpio for the next few weeks. What's that going to mean for me? Venus in Scorpio through the 11th house. Oh, how can I find out about the 11th house? Okay, there are many resources, and when you have a reading with me, you'll find out, what that means more specifically to you. Okay, I think that's as much as I want to get into with this brief tutorial. I hope it's been useful for you, and I look forward to helping you learn more about yourself through astrology, helping you learn more about using the astrological energies to be aware of the cosmic weather, to know what's the tone of this week, month, year, and how can you work with it to your advantage. All right, have a fantastic day. I look forward to talking with you again, and please go to the Facebook group, Your Stellar Life. If you're not a member, please just request to join and come in there. And this is a great place to ask questions about your chart, to ask questions about what's going on, to share your impressions and your experiences, to really learn to use astrology as a personal growth tool and as a way of aligning yourself with the universal energies and experiencing greater flow and ease in your life while living your true, powerful, authentic, unique self. All right. You can also go to tiffindillon.com for a guide to the planets. It's a PDF download you can print out, and it's a description of the energies that each of the planets bring, and will help you understand some of those energies a little better as well. I'm available to do readings. I'm available for astro coaching, where we dive deeply. We work together over a course of at least 6 months and really work on the things that are most important to you in your life, and using the astrology as a tool for self-discovery, self-empowerment, and for aligning yourself with the energies at hand so that you can be fulfilled and powerful and content and happy. All right, my friends, take care. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.